Hey, welcome. It is Thursday, the 5th of October, late afternoon here in Minneapolis, where I am, mid-afternoon where Tommy Danielsen. I'm Rudy Maxa. I'm a travel journalist and broadcaster. Tommy Danielsen is master of all things travel. He's an expert on incentive programs for airlines and hotels and other businesses, actually, and very, very involved in various blogs and websites and tours. And that FTU above my head stands for Frequent Traveler University, which is a program launched by Tommy and
we're simulcast today. This is the Miles and Points Report. So we're simulcast with Rudy Maxa's World, which is Rudy Maxa's popular show that is on television.
And Marshall Jackson's about to join us from Washington. He is an aviation expert who often joins the group. It'll be nice to have him in a few minutes.
We will get him in a few minutes for sure. So,
what's number one on our list, Tom?
Well, we got quite a bit of other things going on this morning. We wanted to first start talking about the fees that you get for carry-on bags, and it's kind of an interesting push that in the U.S. we are we're kind of not consumer friendly, are we?
No. Not about bags, unless you're an elite member and you have a free bag or you have a credit card that gives you a free check bag or two.
Well, I'm talking more about regulations and things like that. We want to protect the businesses. We don't want to protect the consumer.
Oh, you mean the government?
Yes, the government.
Oh, the government. Well, yeah, the government. Yeah, right. Well, they were very friendly giving airlines money during COVID, but sometimes they're not.
Right. So that's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. So during the COVID, Lufthansa was one of the companies in Europe. They got loans and they got all sorts of things with government support and loans and guarantees and things like that in Europe. And Lufthansa was given a 11 billion euro support for 11 billion euros compared to the $75 billion that the carriers here in the US got. Big difference though. For the 11 billion euros, the German government took a stake of like 25% of Lufthansa.
Didn't happen.
They've sold that. Lufthansa has sold that. The government has sold those pieces to private investors after and gotten more than that of their money back from that. But here in the U.S., it was literally a handout. How about that?
Right. But when it comes to consumers, flyers, passengers, changes come slowly.
Yeah, and mergers here in the U.S. are kind of a big thing, but in the EU, where we have we have something called EU 261, which means that if your flight is delayed more than 3 hours, and it's a mechanical issue, meaning that if it's something that can break on a plane, that might break quicker because it's a maintenance issue, and if you are delayed more than 3 hours, you from say for example you're flying from Paris to London and London to Minneapolis for in your case. And say that your flight from Paris to London was delayed, 3 hours and you missed your connection. And now you are delayed 5, 6, 7 hours to go to Minneapolis. You're automatically eligible. If it's not weather, you're automatically eligible for over $600.
Yeah, at least 600. Yeah, I know.
And now they're pushing for something even more significant than that. Actually, I found a better article than this. It was written by a blog I've never heard of before, but it was actually a decent article because it talks about. So the EU government has now there is a vote coming up in October this month based on a suggestion. It looks like it's going to pass that the EU will ban fees, ban the airlines' opportunity to charge fees for bringing carry-on bags on board the flights.
Good, because they do that a lot there.
Yeah, so the reason why they're doing it isn't because they don't want to stop the airlines from doing it. It's because the hand luggage policies are inconsistent across airline, which causes confusions, inconvenience, and disputes at the airport. Hand luggage policies are often not clearly outlined by the airlines, meaning airlines can falsely advertise low fares while adding hidden fees during checkout. Right.
Good.
So, it looks like they're kind of are getting some good headway for this thing to pass. So what do you think that means for us here in the U.S.? I mean, we do have fares that doesn't, some airlines in the U.S., they have fares that doesn't include carry-ons. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm all for it. I mean, I don't think we have such a problem about sizing differences among airlines, but we certainly have a difference between fees. And if you're flying in one place and have to take another airline, you may find yourself paying a fee you didn't know you had to pay. Sorry. So no, it's good. I mean, get rid of carry-on fees. It's ridiculous. I mean, because people say, "Oh, I'm put it under the seat. I'm not putting it over my head. Why you can't charge me to put it under the seat in front of me." It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I do think that the biggest implication that this is going to have is for Icelandair and Play, the two guys there, and also North Atlantic, who are flying to the United States and have these fees that you have to buy a specific package in order to get your carry-on included and stuff. And their fees are kind of based on the fact that you need to pay something in order to bring anything except for your little tiny purse. I know you have a little tiny purse,
I do.
but I don't have a tiny purse. I have a backpack, and you got to, unless you bring that little thing with you, then that's it. So I think that's the biggest implication for those transatlantic users, right?
Good. Yeah, no, so it's a good thing. October, they're voting the European, whatever it is.
I think that's going to be a good idea for sure. All right, over to airplane orders. Seems like we Marshall, he's working out the lights, but I don't see him coming. So maybe we can try and I just texted him. We are looking at United Airlines making some big purchases out of Chicago, and it's 110 Airbus and Boeing. It is
no Boeing planes at all in that order.
50 long haul planes. So the biggest piece, it's the 787-9, which is the medium model for the 787.
They're buying 160 planes, or just committed to it? I mean, I know
100 planes, 110 planes total. So 50 787-9 and 60 Airbus 321 neos. So
wow. A lot of planes.
In addition to the substantial order, they have as you can see here, they have an option for 50 more 787s and a 40 additional Airbus 321 neo. So that's the largest version of the Airbus 321. It was Airbus 320 series. It's the 321 with the most amount of seats. The maximum is about 230 if you jam enough seats into it. That's the maximum you're allowed to put in it.
No, United is expecting big things. Okay.
Well, you have to bear in mind, they got a lot of old junk that they have to get rid of also. So they have the Boeing 767 300s and also the 400s, which are dogs when it comes to range. So they're not really very useful. They also have a shaky operation. And we were talking about airline regulations earlier. They are literally canceling flights and doing less flights from here to there because they don't have enough planes to operate the schedule that they have out there, which I think definitely should not happen with an airline. You have to, be able to see, it's Newark to Honolulu is a great example, or somewhere. Yeah, I think it's Honolulu. Going to Hawaii out of Newark is
dicey proposition.
Literally stop flying it for a while.
Dicey proposition for United, huh?
Yeah. No, I think that it's good to see they get some renewals. I don't think that the play here says that they're looking at growth. We're going to talk a little bit about later today how the outlook for the winter look, and it doesn't look like super spiffing. I mean, the demand over the winter is not as big as everybody would like.
Okay.
Big order. So we got Greg Smith. Wow, we got a celebrity in our midst today. Greg Smith is on today, joining us, and he will be interesting to see the first class layout of the A321. I think we're going to see, so United has chosen to take a different approach than American and actually having in-flight entertainment. So I think it's going to be, the 5 rows of seats on the standard A321, not the long-range version of it. There's no talk about that. I think this is going to be a domestic machine that's competing against the 737 MAX 9 and 10, right? So I think you'll see 5 rows of 2+2. And, they've got that new seat now that kind of has a little privacy. Like didn't I see that? Anybody? Do you know, Greg, if there was some sort of a privacy, like on the headrest? I thought they said that there was going to be like the new planes now have a little bit of a divider that sticks out.
On domestic flights in business?
That is a domestic first class, right? So what I'm expecting that these planes are not going to be the long range ones or the ones that you use across the Atlantic.
Okay.
All right. A little bit of news. Lounges are full these days, and Capital One is kind of like the new Scary is covering this today, which is some good news updates about the lounge situation at Dulles. So they've started reducing access, with priority pass to various things because of high demand and stuff like that. But if you have a Capital One card now, you will be able to access the San Francisco, JFK, and Dulles with your card, not with the priority pass. You will have more lenient access with the Capital One Venture X card, which is good. And also, as you could see, Newark is there's no Virgin flights out of Newark anymore. They're all in JFK. So, and also the Boston Clubhouse is not accessible, but the Venture X and Venture X Business Capital One card holders will retain access to the Virgin Clubhouses in San Francisco, JFK, and Dulles through but it's.
I did not know I had access to Capital One I have the Capital One X card that I can use for, but I didn't know that Virgin. Interesting.
Yeah.
I've been to San Francisco Capital One Club, and it's just lovely. And it's the first place I've seen those right at the front as you walk in, little bags of desserts or sandwiches or fruit.
Which airport are you talking about? DFW?
No, San Francisco. Or maybe it was DFW.
DFW has the lounge. I think Denver is now open, and I also think the Capital One lounge in.
Well, I notice other airlines are now doing this grab and go concept. Where you
can United is doing it, and I think the other guys are also doing it. So, at the end of the day, it's probably trying to lighten the load of the people who are in the lounges anymore.
Right. The Capital lounges are nice so far.
Yeah, no, there are restrictions now. It's absolutely no doubt that the airlines and the credit card companies, their best buddies and the biggest revenue driver, have added a lot of pressure. They've been extremely successful selling credit cards, which it brings more profit to airlines in the US than flying planes. And some of these airlines, in particular American, is the best example. They are not making any money flying planes. They are all dependent on these credit cards, and that leads to full club lounges.
That reminds me of the old days when American Way, their monthly magazine, was very successful. And then President Robert Crandall said, we make more money in the magazine than we do on the airline. We should just close down the airline and publish a magazine.
There you go. Yeah. The problem is that you need to have a place to redeem those miles that you get from those credit cards. So
that is the problem.
Then I would agree with our friend Bob Crandall. He's definitely right about that. But then again, he was also the guy who nuked the olives and thought that was a good idea.
Business class, first class salad, right? Save weight.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, we're going to talk not too much about the news today. We talked a lot yesterday. We had a record webcast. Thanks everybody for joining, for all the new subscribers as well yesterday. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps us to get up getting a little bit more reach. And if you would like to hear our banter every week. If not, then you can just ignore it. But I would love to have you as a subscriber. That would be awesome. But anyways, we talked about the big bombshell this week has been that Scandinavian Airlines, SAS, is leaving Star Alliance with Air France KLM. And there are two things. And Fleming mentioned this yesterday as well, that there is an option for Air France KLM to purchase majority share. A majority post of shares for after a year
of SAS.
So I think that it's pretty much set in stone that SAS is going to be have Air France KLM as the dominant as the controlling shareholder moving forward. And but what we've heard now is that there is a joint venture, right? And we talked about this yesterday. Gary is not touching too much on this current situation. What Fleming, I actually did a little quality check on that statement as Fleming did yesterday. There are actually SAS is not part of the Lufthansa Lufthansa Group United joint venture. So they are selling other things right? They're selling other things in the space than so when you fly United, when you book an SAS ticket, you can end up on American on the domestic leg. You can end up on Alaska on the domestic leg. It's really strange. But now the joint venture between Delta, Air France, and KLM, that's a story to really be told. They've got a good system in place. And now it has been announced today that SAS will join the transatlantic joint venture agreement.
Okay. What does that mean?
Well, that means that SkyTeam flyers will now have flights to Europe, flight options to Europe out of Miami, where SAS flies to Miami nonstop, to Copenhagen. They fly from Washington, D.C. They fly twice daily from Chicago, 2-3 times daily from New York, Newark, and JFK. They fly from Los Angeles. They fly from Toronto, and they fly from Boston. So you have lots of new options, and also from San Francisco. So you have lots of new options that SkyTeam flyers now have available in secondary hubs to fly into a hub in Europe that's much, much better than London Heathrow, which is, Virgin Atlantic, which is also in SkyTeam, where their hub is, which is, it's not the best airport to transfer in. But it also, you have, in addition to Air France, KLM, of course, to transfer in Amsterdam. So you have, so SkyTeam members can rejoice of having access to a ton of new transatlantic flights.
Into Copenhagen, primarily into Copenhagen, right?
Copenhagen and 1 or 2 flights to Stockholm. But I think, Fleming is right. I think Copenhagen is going to be the hub in the future. So now you fly into Copenhagen, easy transfer, good lounges, good shopping, and you don't have to go through security for any of the other flights that you need to go to. So it's a really easy gig. And which means that SAS has, hundreds of flights a day out to Europe. So it's another option that SkyTeam doesn't have. Right now, it has always for SkyTeam been London and Paris. Well, recently London. Virgin Atlantic has been, owned partially by Delta for a while, but that they're full-blown member of SkyTeam is not an old thing. It's a couple of years old. So now you have London, Paris, Copenhagen, and Amsterdam as an option for flights. So SkyTeam is now a player.
Yep. Yeah, all good news for guys like me who live in Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is, of course, a big Delta.
Yeah, I think you'll also see SAS flying into Atlanta. I think you're going to see them probably maybe flying into they already fly into LA, which is a focus city for.
They may fly here. They may fly into Minnesota because it's a huge Scandinavian state,
That's true. Lufthansa just launched Minneapolis.
Yes, they did.
So they're going to have a nonstop flight to Frankfurt starting this next season, or did it start already? I mean, they just made the announcement, which is, gives a good reach in there. But I think at the end of the day, it makes sense now that with SAS and SkyTeam, if they're not joined yet, it's going to be probably a year and a half before we see any movement on that. Yeah, it'll happen in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see the reincarnation of the Copenhagen to Seattle route, which existed for a long time. I remember Microsoft and Amazon had a huge corporate agreement, and also Boeing flying SAS into Europe. And that route was canceled because Lufthansa expanded their footprint into Seattle. And so they took over that thing. Now that that's gone, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, because, Copenhagen, Seattle come back with SAS, because Delta has a huge network out of Seattle.
And they've been fighting Alaska for years, between Alaska and Delta in Seattle. Yeah.
And Alaska joining Oneworld, it made Seattle more attractive for overseas flyers, right? So. Yes, Seattle is definitely good. We're going to see growth there. I would not be surprised if we see SAS bumping up there. And, as we mentioned yesterday, we're not going to talk too much about it. If you guys wanted to read more, go back in the YouTube channel, the FTU or Rudy Maxa's World's YouTube channel. Look at the videos from yesterday and from the day before, where we covered all of this.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
We covered it a lot. We were on the horn for over an hour yesterday. So let's just leave it at that and say that that's the story. So we talked about Star Alliance. We talked about the last thing we were going to talk about this last week. We were going to talk a little bit about the last alliance where American Airlines and Alaska are in, One World. And we talked 2 weeks ago about the Delta program changes, which were substantial.
And we're still waiting for word from the Ed Bastian.
CEO, yes, you're right.
About how they're going to die.
We are definitely waiting for the CEO to come back. And I think that what we'll see is probably a walk back of the spend requirements, and probably also a little bit of a walk back of the lounge access I don't think they're going to walk back the American Express Platinum access to the lounges, but Delta's own credit card, which is the club credit card that literally exists because it gives you an annual membership for the clubs. I think we're going to see some visits. Pardon?
What is it, 6 visits with their card?
I think it's 10 with the proprietary Delta Platinum card and 6 for the Amex Platinum card.
Ah, okay. Still,
it's on international.
That's 3 round trips.
On international itineraries, you'll still have access, with your status, Rudy. So that's obviously still happening. But we wanted to focus a little bit about some alternatives and seeing right now, British Airways is has said that they're going to change how you earn miles with them as well. But qualification for status will not change, meaning that they've had a tier point system in place for a very, very long time, meaning that you take a flight and you get X amount of tier points, and it's not at all related to the miles and points that you earn. So if we were to look at the tier points, I think there's some sort of a calculator here that you can actually do. How do I earn tier points? Collecting and see here. There you go. Flight calculator. So the good thing so I have status with British Airways, and the status with British Airways gives me a ton of benefits when I fly with American Airlines in Alaska when I'm here. So when I fly domestically with American Airlines or Alaska Airlines, I get access to the club lounge on domestic. So if I go to LA and I fly back, I can actually go to the flagship lounge in LA from LA for an hour to Sacramento. And that's obviously a thing that, all of these other carriers do that. But I wanted to highlight a little bit how easy it is to get their status with British Airways. A lot of people are saying like the status is not worth it, blah, 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 blah. My travel pattern is I don't make it. If you have to make an effort to earn the status, then I would say that you shouldn't do it. Do you agree on that?
Well, I do now, yes. I mean, this will be the last year I'm diamond on Delta. I mean, if they keep it at $35,000 spend, I'm not going to travel that much this year, and so if they bring it down to 25, maybe. So no, I'm adopting your philosophy, which is take the flight that makes sense and is the best priced and the best class, and forget about whether you're going to miss out on making diamond on Delta or gold on America.
But you have lifetime gold on Delta, so you have SkyTeam Elite Plus, meaning that you have access to lounges when you travel.
I don't know that I do. Do I?
I thought you said you had 2 million miles.
I'm about to get 2 million miles. That'll give me.
So when you go over that threshold, that means that you're SkyTeam Elite Plus for life.
Okay. So the Avios thing, I've got tons of Avios from when I used to live in DC. I've got hundreds of thousands of Avios, which I never use, and I'm blue, which is the lowest thing. Right. What are you, silver?
Yeah, so I'm silver. I'm almost gold now. I've been gold for a few years before also.
And so silver lets you in the lounges and all that? And
silver lets you in the lounges for sure, yeah. So actually, silver sapphire is the tier we're talking about here. And when you, as everybody knows on domestic airlines, you don't get club access, even if you fly first class, if you pay for a first class ticket, even if you have the top tier status like executive platinum or Delta Diamond. Delta Diamond, you have a choice to
each
pick
year
a membership to the Sky Club as one of your perks.
Each year, yeah.
But for United and for American and for Alaska, that does not exist. That's not a perk that they have.
So how easy is, you're saying it's easy to get, fairly easy to get to silver on BA?
Silver is very, very easy. Let me show you how that's done. So there are three in one world. For those who are not familiar, you have the ruby level, which is the equivalent to American Advantage Gold, and also executive. So executive club, British Airways Executive Club Bronze. Then you have silver, which is the equivalent to platinum, and also the same sapphire is also the same level as the Platinum Pro. You have the 50,000 points per, or it used to be 50,000. Now I don't even know what this new system what it is, but Platinum and Platinum Pro with American gives you what's called sapphire. And sapphire is the silver level also with British Airways. So silver is also sapphires. You have these one world classifications. So like you have Elite and you have Elite Plus with SkyTeam, or Star Alliance Silver and Star Alliance Gold, right?
But you're saying it's easier to get to silver on BA than it is to
it's
get
very
to,
easy to get silver.
So
I have not, and I will go on the record and saying that neither Melinda or I have gone out of our way to earn this status.
All right, so how do you do it? How do you do it?
So let's give a couple of examples, right? So if you were to, you get a fixed level when you fly. You have to be in either in premium economy to make a big jump on how you earn status, right?
Okay.
So for example, if you were to fly, does British Airways fly to Minneapolis?
No, it does not.
I don't think they do.
Chicago.
So we'll use Chicago as an example. So you fly from Chicago to London Heathrow, a long haul flight, and your blue level, the level that you are now, the earning for tier points is exactly the same, and regardless of what tier level you're at. So if you fly in business class, you fly from Minneapolis to we'll do the short haul leg now, but the long leg, the nonstop leg from Chicago to London Heathrow, is premium economy, which is usually about $1,000 round trip, is 90 tier points each way. If you're in business class, it is 140 tier points each way. That's the overwater situation.
That's each way. All right. So if I flew in premium economy, I'd get 180 tier points. Does that get me to silver?
Correct. Hang on for a sec.
Okay.
Then you have the Minneapolis leg. And the Minneapolis leg gives you, when you are in premium economy, it's this right here. So that's 20 tier points that you get awarded for
40 more.
Pardon?
So 40 more round trip.
40 more round trip, yes. And then you go to Europe, and let's say you're going to Milan. Same thing. You get 20.
90. So 90 in premium economy.
Oh, hang on. That was my mistake. That should have been London Heathrow to.
Going out of London to Milan. Okay.
Which is another 20.
Another 20. So another 40. There's 80 plus 180. That's 260.
Right. It is 180 plus 80. Yes, 260. So that's one trip to Europe, right? One trip to Europe.
Is that enough for silver?
That is not enough for silver. No, it's not that easy. You can't get silver for $1,000. Everybody would be silver. So if we were to look at the tiers that they have, what the tiers have and what they give you, and also for the advantages you have for flying your domestic stuff. Where is the tier stuff? Transfer or collecting avios. This is all about earnings. So let's go back to the exec. Oh crap! I just saw it where it was. Back executive club. Here it is. Oh, for the love of Christ! There we go. Their IT is typical of an airline. So join the club now. How it works. Learn about the club. Here you go, tiers and benefits. So bronze benefits. What do you get as bronze benefits? Okay, so it's in order to get bronze, you need 300 tier points. That's that's easy. You need to get bronze. So if you were to buy an upgrade for, here's a good trick. There's always, when you take a BA short haul flight in Europe, there's always a offer. Not always, but in 85 to 90%, there's an offer to purchase an upgrade. And those upgrades, so I flew from Venice.
The airport or before the flight? I mean, before
both,
you go.
Both.
Okay.
You going out of London, it's you can do it, or going to London, you can get it. The
Okay.
upgrades I got when we flew from, Melinda and I flew from London to Copenhagen about 2 weeks ago. And we had the cheapest economy ticket you could get, like $70, $80. And we got, hey, you can upgrade for 79 pounds per person. And for that 79 pounds, you get business class. You go from 5 or 10 tier points, depending on, it's probably 5 tier points, to 40. So a round trip within Europe is 80. I have, for example, another trick that I have from, not a trick, but from Sacramento to LA, there is a lot of competition. So a flight on American costs $59, and if in paid first class, it was $139. And first class domestically gives another 40 tier points. So that kind of give you a good indication. What do you get? So when you are at the lowest tier level, it's the equivalent of, you have American Airlines Gold for life, right? So, so that's the level. But so it's pretty much, you can go through priority security. You can board in priority boarding with it's Group 2 in Europe with BA. You can
choose your seat.
Exactly. You can check in at business class check-in, and you get free bags and that kind of stuff, right? Those are the things that you get when you have that tier. So it's not a throwaway tier. It puts you ahead of everybody else. The next tier is obviously silver, and silver is 600 points that you need.
600. And what did we do in that last? We did 90, 100. We did 260 or something. Yeah.
260. Yeah.
So you're more than a quarter of the way.
You need to.
You're more than a quarter of the way there.
Pardon?
You're more than a quarter of the way to get to 900 on that one trip.
No, it's 600 total.
Yeah, but it's
260 times 2 is 540.
Oh, so it's more.
Oh,
yeah. It's easier.
520. So you need your 80 shy. 2 round trips to Europe in premium economy gets you to where you need to be.
And a couple short domestic hops and you're there. Right.
Pretty much, yeah. So if you fly round trip to Chicago, and that's a good market to fly American Airlines and pay your way up the first. And it's like usually $30, $40, $50 more. And there are other options as well. So what does this give you? When you fly American domestically, so obviously the thing that you're losing is the upgrades. If you had platinum level with American or platinum pro level with American, they are both the same. They're Sapphire, the One World level. That means that you are on the list automatically to get upgrades, right? So you're losing out on that. Everything else you get, but you also get, in addition to that, you get something else. You get to use not the Admirals Club at the airport on domestic itineraries. You get to use the flagship lounge, which is an upgraded one. They got champagne, they got great catering, they've got all sorts of hooch if you want to, get hammered or whatever. And that's, LA, they've got a great location, and they've got all sorts of fun stuff going on there. And it is, for some reason, they're actually giving access to American changed it so that level gets access to flagship now. Which
if you're silver on Navios,
right? And silver that's the sweet spot in this. But you don't need any more. You don't need to. That means that if you take 2 trips to Europe in premium economy and have a couple of domestic flights in first, you're there.
In. Yeah.
Good. So and silver is very, very easy. So Melinda, we had our Zurich event. Her membership year. The membership year is weird. It's not set in stone. My membership year starts April 30th or April 15th or whatever. Melinda starts January 15th. Or whatever.
Who decides when it starts?
When you join. It's when you get a date. So it's kind of strange. So for me, for Melinda, we flew from Zurich back to LA for our business trip. We were in premium economy, but we paid for the upgrade. We paid $325 and some points, and we were upgraded. And when you upgrade, we were able to get the tier points for the higher class of service. So it's 140.
Did you upgrade premium economy to club for that?
Yes. Well, from this was an American Airlines, so you can do it.
Okay.
But on upgrading from premium economy to club is also very inexpensive. It costs very, very, very little money. It costs like 15 to 20,000 avios plus, $150, $250, depending on.
And on American, you went from premium economy to what?
To business class.
Yeah, that's why in front of the plane, basically. Right.
Right.
Okay, that's good. I did not know. That's
so the upgrades, and this is how you find availability. This is what you find. This is what you find when you if you literally the strategy here should be, you should just take a step back from the loyalty thing. And if you do take if you do take just a couple of trips a year, long haul trips a year, it's easy to get, which gives you those better access to better clubs domestically than any of American Airlines own flyers, right?
Okay.
How cool is that? So that's one thing. But like I said, when you British Airways program also, if it is available for redemption on a flight, if there is redemption availability, it's the same availability as upgrade availability. So if you see a flight in club redeemable right now, I just did that for a flight that I have going back over in for one of our future trips. I saw all of a sudden, I saw that it was available to redeem on the flight that I had a purchase premium economy ticket on. Boom, voila. I call BA. I say, I want to upgrade this flight. It's the same inventory. So I upgraded, I think it was 15 or 20,000 avios plus $150, $200 or something.
To get into club.
To get into club world.
Amazing. All right. Well, I think
so it's easier to do, and it's available. And also, as you know, avios is a very favorable, it's an easy attainable currency. The only thing you have to realize that when you do redeem, it is an insane amount of surcharges that you have to pay.
Into London, yeah, right.
Right. No, it's not the London. It has nothing to do with it. And it's a common misconception, is that it has to do with London taxes. It is not. It's not. So taxes, the high taxes, which is about $160, is the luxury tax out of London. It is only originate in London and fly to the US. If you originate in, say, Milan, and you fly into London and then to Minneapolis or whatever in the US, okay, BA doesn't fly there, but you know the point, you get the point, then you're exempt from that tax. Right. It's only if you originate in London and fly to the US. That's or anywhere.
Or if you fly from the US to London.
No.
What? Every time I get a London ticket, it's got all the, if I go to Heathrow, it's got all this stuff added, money added.
What are you talking about? Are you talking for redemption?
Oh, no, not for redemption, for a cash.
Well, the taxes are that there are fuel surcharges where are now, the airlines are not calling it fuel surcharges anymore because it's so misleading. It's carrier imposed charges. So if you were to look at what we're talking about here, so Virgin Atlantic and British Airways, they charge $875 in fees, taxes and fees, for a redemption from the US to London.
Right. That's a lot.
Out of that, taxes is about $50. Rest of it goes straight in the pockets of the airline.
And that's business class?
That's business class.
Yeah, right.
And for premium, it's about $350, $400 maybe.
Okay.
And then for economy, it's also a couple $100. Those are taxes and fees that don't exist. Ex-US, you have the tiny taxes that the government charges us, and landing is nothing either. The luxury, the airlines have no interest in telling you of how
what money is different, right?
What these things are. These are carrier imposed fees. It's London, it's so expensive because of taxes. It's like everybody thinks that. Every American who has no clue thinks that. That's completely untrue. That there are taxes, yes. The luxury taxes ex-Heathrow only to the US, and it's about $150. But British Airways or Virgin Atlantic will charge you $875 surcharges, and most of that is carrier imposed surcharge. So it's literally a junk fee that the airlines are putting.
All right, I think we've beaten this one to death. What else we got today?
That's all I have for everybody today.
That's all. Well, it was nice having Marshall here. I don't know what happened. We were on before we went live, and
he can't improve lighting or angle. I guess he didn't want to show his chin.
well, it was sort of in the dark there. I said, can't you just turn a light on somewhere?
No, he wasn't supposed to be where he is today. He had to make an emergency trip, so we're going to let it slide for this time. We'll see him next week anyways.
All right. Well, you know where to find us because you have found us today.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to write a newsletter in the next week. I haven't written a newsletter.
You said that last week too.
I know I did. Just go to maxatours.com and down to the bottom of the homepage. It's free. It's irregular, obviously, but I hope it's entertaining. I approach it as a journalist, not as a fanboy.
Yeah, but as a tour operator, there's one thing we want to say that on Wednesday of next week, we are launching our 2024 updated with 2 new tours that we're doing.
Maxatours.com. What are those 2 new tours? I know what they are.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit of a early access here for that, and we are doing the definitive Italy. We're going into the most popular 3 cities. This is a perfect tours for those who have not been into Italy before. Starts in Rome, and you're in Rome, and you go to Florence, and we, as usual with us, we use a high-speed train. Because it's just so much more comfortable than riding in a bus, and also a high-speed train from Rome to Florence was like an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And we're in Florence for 2 days, and then, or actually, we're there 3 nights. But one of the nights we're visiting the Antinori guys are taking us out to the vineyards, and we're doing a little rolling hills of Toscana. Mm-hmm. Like Frasier said, and then we go to Venice. So it is Rome to Florence to Venice is one of the tours, and the other tour is an Ireland tour that was created by our new tour director, Ingeborg, also popularly known as Inga, because we Americans have so much problem saying Ingeborg. Those are the 2 new ones that we're doing. But of course, the greatest hits are also there, and they've been adjusted a little bit. But we'll talk more about that on Wednesday.
Maxatours.com. All right, Tommy, good to see you. Good to see everybody here.
Ciao bello, everybody.
Ciao bello. Bye-bye.